What if Africans stood against all the corrupt leaders? According to experts, replacing leaders in African nations could resolve half of their problems. This is because current leaders often grant excessive freedom to external entities, leading to the exploitation of Africa's resources. Recently, the foreign minister of Zambia attempted to sell the country's resources to China, even requesting additional gifts such as Mercedes-Benz, highlighting their prioritization of personal gain over the state's welfare. This situation has brought Zambia to the brink of chaos. The question remains, will leaders cease such actions in the future? Let's find out. Many African nations have faced hardships. It's not just about the numbers. It's about the hustle, the struggles, and the leaders steering the ship. Right now, the nation facing the most difficulty is Zambia. As we peel back the layers of this narrative, the disclosures not only lay bare Zambia's precarious financial situation, but also shine a spotlight on the susceptibility of its leadership to corruption and exploitation. Like many African nations, Zambia is at a critical juncture, grappling with challenges beyond economic difficulties. The narrative unfolds with a reminder of the fragility of economic integrity, emphasizing leaders' imperative to navigate these waters with accountability at the forefront. The exploration goes beyond mere financial standings. It delves into the ethical issues that shape the nation's leadership. The financial panorama of Zambia paints a picture not just of tight budgets and economic uncertainty, but unveils a vulnerability that transcends monetary figures. The layers of this story expose the nation's susceptibility to external pressures and internal pitfalls, unraveling a tale that prompts reflection on its leadership's resilience and ethical fortitude. Corruption and exploitation, like unwelcome guests, have found a seat at the table of Zambia's governance. The alarmingly high susceptibility of its leadership to these conditions casts a shadow over the nation's potential for growth. It highlights the urgent need for leaders who can withstand the temptations of unethical practices, prioritizing the welfare of the people over personal gains. As we navigate this unsettling episode, it becomes evident that the challenges Zambia faced mirror a broader narrative within the African continent. Economic integrity and leadership accountability emerge as pillars upon which the fate of nations rests. The story of Zambia serves as a cautionary tale, urging leaders across Africa to fortify their ethical foundations and safeguard against the corrosive influence of corruption and exploitation. Zambia is under a debt crisis now, which made the locals more worried than ever before. But what led Zambia to default on its debt? Joining the ranks of Ghana and Ethiopia. Zambia's recent plunge into debt default has left many scratching their heads, wondering what paved the way for this fiscal stumble, aligning the nation with Ghana and Ethiopia. The hurdles in Zambia's economic path are undeniably weighty, stretching across the healthcare system, education, and critical infrastructure, all feeling the squeeze of financial scarcity. The story of Zambia's financial challenges is like a puzzle, missing a few pieces. The economic issues have seen the country defaulting on its debt, raising concern globally. It's a problem that demands attention, and understanding the roots of this issue is crucial. This nation is grappling with the strains on its healthcare system, education, and critical infrastructure. It's not a simple case of a hiccup. It's more like a series of dominoes, each knocking the other down. The financial insufficiency has cast shadows on the well-being of the people, echoing through hospitals, classrooms, and everyday life. However, amidst these challenges lies a resilient nation with untapped potential. Zambia, despite its economic setbacks, is not short on opportunities. The treasure trove of abundant gold reserves and recently unearthed lithium deposits paints a picture of a nation with resources waiting to be harnessed for growth. Gold, a symbol of wealth and prosperity, lies beneath Zambia's soil, waiting to be mined. The potential for economic revival is tangible, coupled with strategic management and a genuine commitment to the people's welfare. The recently discovered lithium deposits add another layer to Zambia's resource richness, presenting an avenue for technological advancement and economic diversification. For Zambia to rise from the ashes of economic challenges, These resources must be managed with the utmost care and consideration for the people. Gold and lithium should not just be commodities traded on the global market, but catalysts for positive change within the nation. The road to recovery is paved with opportunities, but it requires a shift in focus. It's not merely about overcoming the challenges, but leveraging the strengths beneath the surface. Zambia has the potential to transform into an economic powerhouse, with gold and lithium acting as the cornerstones of this metamorphosis. The key lies in leadership that prioritizes the interests of the people. Zambia's journey towards economic stability must be guided by leaders who understand the value of transparent governance and accountable decision-making. But problems continue beyond this simple achievement. Just when the sun seemed to be peeking through the clouds of Zambia's economic challenges, a storm brewed on the horizon with the resignation of Foreign Minister Stanley Kako. The optimism surrounding the nation's potential takes an unexpected turn, as controversy surrounds a video allegedly capturing Kako for questionable financial exchange related to a gold mine he purportedly owns. The plot thickens as the video unfolds, depicting Kako allegedly receiving substantial sums of money. The narrative he weaves is one of a legitimate business transaction, where the intent was to sell the gold mine. However, the allegations strengthen, suggesting a more sinister motive: the possibility of shortchanging investors by selling the mine. Kako's defense presents the financial exchange as a straightforward business deal. The intention to sell the gold mine is argued, painting a picture of a man simply making a strategic move in the economic world. However, suspicion looms as skeptics question these claims' authenticity. The controversy takes an even darker turn with allegations of an additional perk: a request for a Mercedes-Benz. It's a twist in the tale that adds a layer of extravagance to the already complex plot. The notion of a public figure seeking personal gain amid economic challenges raises eyebrows and highlights the importance of looking at leadership with a discerning eye. In times where transparency and integrity are paramount, the allegations against Kako strike at the heart of these values. The potential for growth and development in Zambia is at a crossroads, and the actions of its leaders play a pivotal role in shaping the nation's destiny. The resignation of a foreign minister amid such controversy sends ripples through the nation's fabric, demanding a closer look at the ethical foundations of its leadership. As Zambia stands at the intersection of promise and uncertainty, the citizens are left wrestling with questions about the true intentions of those entrusted with steering the ship. The claims surrounding Kako's financial dealings cast a shadow over the nation's potential, raising concerns about the commitment of its leaders to the welfare of the people. But is this happening for the first time? Or are leaders taking such actions common in African nations? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. The recent revelation of a government official entangled in what seems to be a dubious deal in Zambia is sadly not a unique occurrence. Such narratives echo across Africa, similar to stories we've witnessed in countries like Zimbabwe. A gold mafia allegedly implicated top officials in this neighboring nation, even reaching the presidency stage. These instances pose troubling questions about the ethical conduct of leaders and the potential ripple effects on their nations. Zambia's current issue with Foreign Minister Stanley Kako unfolds against a background that seems all too familiar in the African narrative. The intertwining of government officials with questionable deals has become a recurring theme, surpassing borders and resonating in the experiences of countries like Zimbabwe. The echoes of these incidents raise troubling questions, not just about individual conduct, but about the systemic challenges that may plague governance across the continent. In Zimbabwe, the alleged involvement of top officials, including the president, in a gold mafia only deepens the shadows cast on ethical leadership. The parallels between these cases in different nations highlight the urgency of addressing a shared concern, the ethical compass guiding those in positions of power. These instances are not just localist controversies, but cautionary tales with potential repercussions for entire nations. When leaders are entangled in ethically questionable dealings, the trust between the government and its citizens frays. It raises concerns about the integrity of institutions and the state's ability to safeguard its people's interests. Is it a failure of oversight, a deficiency in institutional checks and balances, or a deeper systemic issue that requires a comprehensive reevaluation of governance structures? Is the recent issue really important? The answer lies in the broader implications of actions that extend beyond individual controversies. The selling of national assets, like Zambia's gold mine, at a fraction of their true value and the acceptance of extravagant gifts from foreign investors create a dangerous cycle of exploitation and neocolonialism. As witnessed in the purported case of Zambia's gold mine, the undervaluation of national assets strikes at the heart of a nation's economic sovereignty. The consequences roll through the entire economic landscape when essential resources are sold short. It's like giving away the keys to the kingdom, damaging the nation's ability to harness its wealth's full potential. These actions contribute to a broader narrative of exploitation. Foreign investors seeking to capitalize on the undervaluation of assets may continue this cycle of neocolonialism. The repercussions of such dynamics extend beyond monetary gains, impacting the very fabric of a nation's autonomy and self-determination. Zambia's struggle with the purported undervaluation of the gold mine is a cautionary tale for other African nations facing similar challenges. The consequences of allowing national assets to be sold at a fraction of their true value are not confined to the economic domain alone. They seep into the political and social spheres, corrupting the foundations of a nation's self-reliance. The acceptance of lavish gifts further complicates the ethical landscape. While these gifts may seem harmless perks, they often come with strings attached. The potential influence of foreign investors over decision-makers, driven by a desire to secure favorable deals, creates a power dynamic that can tilt in favor of external interests rather than the nation's welfare. At the core of these actions lies a threat to the very essence of national progress. Selling assets and accepting gifts compromise a nation's ability to reinvest in its people, infrastructure, and overall development. It's a compromise that extends beyond the immediate gains of a few individuals and strikes at the heart of collective prosperity. Now comes China in the scene. But what does China have to do with all this? Isn't China Africa's friend? The complexities deepen as we delve into the involvement of Chinese investors in these controversial deals, shining a spotlight on the broader issue of foreign influence and economic dependency. The debate surrounding these investments unfolds on a dual narrative, some championing the economic opportunities they bring. In contrast, others raise concerns about perpetuating a cycle of exploitation, reminiscent of colonial-era resource extraction. Chinese investors, including countries like Zambia, have become key players in African economic landscapes. The appeal of infrastructural development and economic growth often accompanies these investments, painted as beacons of progress. However, the implications extend beyond the immediate gains, stirring a conversation about the delicate balance between economic opportunities and potential pitfalls. Proponents argue that Chinese investments inject much-needed capital into African nations, paving the way for improved infrastructure, job creation, and technological advancements. The narrative depicts mutual benefit, where both parties thrive in a symbiotic relationship. Yet, the skeptics voice concerns about the strings attached to these investments and the shadow of economic dependency that looms large. The analogy of colonial-era resource extraction is not lost on those wary of foreign influence. The fear is that, in pursuing economic growth, African nations may be trapped in a dependency trap, with foreign investors holding significant sway over crucial aspects of their economies. The echoes of historical exploitation resonate, raising questions about the long-term consequences of such engagements. Zambia's situation, with Chinese involvement in deals under scrutiny, serves as a microcosm of this larger debate. The nation stands at a crossroads, balancing the potential benefits of foreign investments with the imperative to safeguard its economic sovereignty. What reaction has the recent issue got? Apart from people focusing on China's help, what else do they have to say? As the spotlight intensifies on the events surrounding Foreign Minister Stanley Kako, a stark truth emerges. Leadership accountability is non-negotiable. The collective call for a comprehensive investigation into Kako's actions, with potential consequences including imprisonment and asset seizure, is not just about one individual, but signifies a collective demand for justice. Zambia's future hinges on the commitment of its leaders to uphold governance principles, transparency, and economic stewardship. Scrutinizing these events lays bare the importance of holding leaders accountable for their actions. The call for a thorough investigation reflects the collective desire for justice to prevail, emphasizing that no one is above the law. The potential consequences, including imprisonment and asset seizure, serve as a deterrent and a clear message that accountability is not merely a suggestion, but a requirement for those entrusted with the nation's well-being. However, the issue goes beyond individual actors like Kako. It is a broader reflection on the collective responsibility of African leaders to safeguard their nations against exploitation. The call for a united front against corruption, foreign interference, and the undervaluation of national assets cannot be overstated. African leaders must prioritize the long-term interests of their citizens over short-term personal gains, fostering an environment where ethical leadership prevails. The resonance of this issue extends far beyond the borders of Zambia, repeating as a wake-up call for African nations to review their economic strategies. In the end, let's understand how Zambia's leaders have long contributed to all the issues it faces. The challenges Zambia faces are deeply created by the decisions and actions of its leaders, creating complex issues ranging from the erosion of democracy to the intricacies of international relationships and economic management. Former President Edgar Lungu's administration faced significant criticism for its impact on democratic values, with accusations of authoritarian tendencies. The erosion of democracy posed a substantial challenge, sparking concerns about Zambia's political landscape. This period marked a pivotal moment, emphasizing the balance leaders must strike between governance and potential autocratic leanings. Additionally, Zambia was burdened with a high level of debt, a concern that transcended political transitions. Successive leaders, including President Hakainde Hichilema, inherited the responsibility of addressing the country's debt crisis. The relationship between economic growth and debt sustainability became a central focus, demanding strategic decisions to steer the nation toward stability. One of the key elements complicating Zambia's economic landscape is its relationship with China. While the macroeconomic importance of Chinese investments is undeniable, leaders have grappled with balancing this with negative perceptions among the Zambian population. The need to maintain relations with Eastern and Western partners reflects the delicate diplomatic balance that leaders must master in search of national interests. President Hakainde Hichilema, assuming office in 2021, embarked on a mission to address Zambia's debt crisis and recalibrate international relationships, particularly with China. The commitment to attracting private sector investment while ensuring debt sustainability highlights the tightrope leaders walk in pursuing economic stability. As highlighted by various sources, the decisions made by Zambia's leaders show the complex trade-offs inherent in governance. The quest for economic growth is not linear. It requires leaders to navigate challenges, juggling domestic and international concerns, democratic principles, and economic imperatives. Is there any solution to the issues Zambia is facing? Zambia stands at a critical juncture, facing many challenges that demand comprehensive solutions. Addressing issues ranging from health and debt to water crises and economic development requires a multifaceted approach, with strategic interventions to foster sustainable and inclusive development. The first sector to pay attention to is the health sector. To bolster Zambia's healthcare system, a pivotal step involves significant investments in the sector. Ensuring adequate funding for health services becomes paramount, emphasizing the need to prioritize domestic resource mobilization over austerity measures. By strengthening the provision of healthcare and social protection, Zambia can build a resilient foundation for the well-being of its citizens. Then comes the debt crisis. Tackling Zambia's debt crisis necessitates a strategic and sustainable approach. Restructuring unsustainable public debt and focusing on domestic resource mobilization are crucial. Exploring options that support long-term inclusive development and climate resilience can provide a framework for navigating the complexities of debt management. Then comes water crisis management. The water crisis in Zambia demands urgent attention and actionable solutions. Implementing clean and sustainable water solutions is key, with a focus on investing in water infrastructure. Ensuring access to clean water, especially in rural areas, can significantly alleviate the burden of the water crisis on local communities. Then, there is a need to boost economic development. Diversification is imperative to catalyze economic development. Attracting private sector investment becomes a driving force for growth. Investing in agriculture, improving infrastructure, and addressing policy inconsistency and corruption is crucial to fostering economic resilience and sustainability. The path forward requires coordinated efforts from various stakeholders, including the government, international partners, and local communities. Achieving sustainable and inclusive development in Zambia demands collaboration and shared responsibility. Lastly, one important factor that can solve many problems in Zambia is the sincerity of its leaders. Without genuine commitment to the state's well-being, external actors' perpetual cycle of exploitation is likely to persist. To fix the issues, leaders must prioritize transparency, accountability, and a sincere dedication to the nation's welfare. Sincerity begins with transparency. Leaders must be open and candid about the challenges facing Zambia, acknowledging the complexities of the issues. Transparency builds trust among the citizens, fostering a sense of shared responsibility in overcoming obstacles. Sincere leaders take responsibility for their actions and decisions. Instituting accountability measures ensures that leaders are held answerable for their conduct. This includes thorough investigations into allegations of corruption and exploitation, clearly conveying that such behavior will not be tolerated. True sincerity lies in prioritizing the interests of the nation over personal gains. Leaders must resist the temptation to succumb to external pressures or exploit national resources for personal benefit. The focus should be on policies and initiatives that uplift the entire nation. A sincere leader actively engages with the citizens, seeking their input and addressing their concerns. Empowering the population through education and participation in decision-making processes creates a more informed and resilient society. As Zambia charts its course forward, embracing sincerity and leadership becomes not only a solution to its current challenges, but a guiding principle for sustainable and inclusive development. The call for sincerity is a rallying cry for a brighter future where the nation's potential is realized and the people's trust in their leaders is restored. Do you think Zambia's leaders are the reason for all its issues? What's the solution according to you? Should they be held accountable? What would happen if the public stands out against the leaders? Let us know in the comments section. Will extreme public reaction make the leaders realize their duties? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
Deposit Photos Music. Deposit Photos Music.